Thank you, Will, for the great presentation. What three words have a booth in the tech fair outside? Please feel free to reach out to them and network. Our next session is a panel discussion on e-commerce trends, mobile, social, and new technologies. Mr. Khalid Al-Zanki, founder and chief executive officer of Launch, will be moderating this session, accompanied by Abdulwahab Al-Isa, the CEO of Boutiqaat, and Will Ross, director of special projects at Noon. Please help me welcoming them to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. That's not the energy that we need for this session. I totally understand all of you guys coming from lunchtime. So would love to have some energy in the room and prepare your questions, because we're going to have really interesting session over here. So I'll give you some room later on to ask your questions. This panel discussion is mainly focusing around the e-commerce, the challenges, opportunities, and how some of the market players in e-commerce are tackling these challenges, and how they're gonna really be on top of their games as much as they can to compete on a regional scale and maybe international scale in the future as well. So we'll take a minute or so to introduce each platform. We have Will Rose from Noon, and we have Abdulwahab Al-Isa from Boutiqaat. So just a quick introduction about your e-commerce platform for those who are not familiar with your platform, guys.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I am both new to Noon and new to the region. I've just moved here from Hong Kong, where I used to work for Lazada, which is part of the Alibaba group. Noon itself is a funny, Khalid and I were just talking about this. It's a funny creature because we are a startup as a company. It was launched about 2.5 years ago to great fanfare as a joint venture between the PIF of Saudi Arabia and Mr. Alabar, chairman of the Yamar Group. And that creates a certain distortion around it with this great capital structure. But as a business, we're still young. We've gone through some iterations, but we are now a general retail platform where we're looking to be a platform that, and this will sound very ironic coming from my voice with my accent, that is from the region to service the region. It's operational right now in the UAE and the KSA, and will soon be expanding into Egypt and Morocco. And again, why do I highlight this is that as a business, Noon has a lot of expectations around it. A lot of those remain unfulfilled. But the reason why we're here is really to understand how not only Noon fulfills that, but all of us work together to create a level of e-commerce penetration that the region, despite being so tech savvy, is underweight at this point in time.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's a great pleasure participating in Arabnet. This is my second time here. I would also love to welcome all visitors from outside Kuwait. I hope you enjoy a great time here in our small entrepreneurship country. We don't have maybe the best infrastructure for tech companies, but we definitely have the greatest successful startup stories. We love here to share our experience. Boutiqaat is a social commerce platform. It is the first social commerce platform in the Middle East. Today, with high confidence, I could say we are the largest social commerce platform worldwide. We introduced ourselves in this tough market, e-commerce in the Middle East, with innovation. Maybe we don't have much money like A'mar Group, but we take it to another angle with little money and high innovative perspective. We've seen how social media have disrupted the media industry in the Middle East. We've seen very clearly how the social media have disrupted the political industry in the Middle East. And we believe that social media would definitely disrupt the retail industry in the Middle East, the e-commerce industry in the Middle East. We know our region very well. We know our citizens very well. We know how to send the correct message for them in order to convert them from viewers to customers. So we made a club of the top social media influencers in the region, where they could share the products that they use on a daily basis. We've started October 2015. Today we are by far the #1 beauty player in the Middle East online. And very soon, inshallah, we are launching the fashion category, the men's category, the kids category, and every category we would disrupt with the next 5 years with our concept, with our influencers, and with the top talented people in the Middle East. Will have one huge umbrella, which is Boutiqaat, for them to create businesses and to create opportunities for them other than advertising. You know, social media influencers, the only way that they could make money is by posting a paid ad, which is not effective anymore in the next 5 years. People will not believe more and more advertising. So they should be more credible, and they should share what they really like and what they really love. So today we have 350 influencers under Boutiqaat. By the next 5 years, we'll definitely be above, the next 2 years will be above 1,000, especially after, inshallah, if we have a successful launch for the men's category and for the fashion category, and we'll also be targeting more and more customized influencers, sports influencers, fashion influencers, even doctors who are in skincare business will also be part of our platform.
Okay. Awesome introduction. But my next question for you guys is, what are the top 3 challenges you face today as an e-commerce platforms, whether it's Noon or Boutiqaat, in order to get into the market? What are the top 3 challenges do you face? And how do you tackle them?
Okay, let me take that one first. I think we are far enough along in the digital economy globally that we know that the most fundamental challenge for any digital business, especially in a mobile commerce context, is why on earth somebody should download your app. There's a lot of apps out there. I don't know, has anybody installed the new version of Mojave, the new OS 10, the new App Store? It's insane, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it's all about editorial. It's about telling stories about apps to encourage people to even begin to download them. Because the #1 battle is beginning to create a medium with which to communicate to your customer. Without that, Abdul said it best. You know, his platform wins because he knows the customers, he knows the message, he knows how to reach them. This is an abstraction. The most important part of the commercial journey is the human relationship of the person looking at that phone, because they're going to go through the same emotional journey that they would in front of you in a store, except in front of a phone. And that's what the app is. The call to action of downloading that app is your fundamental challenge. From that, catalog. You've given somebody a reason to download your app. What's there? How do you present it to them? Is it just a database for discovery, or is there curation? Is there voice? You know, this is the power of the social influencer model. A social influencer acts as a curator, as a validator, and as somebody who creates communities around shoppers. We as a people, we fundamentally think in tribes, in groups, identities. Social influencers help create that bond, again, to drive that emotional journey. Third, and most important in terms of repeat purchases, is the customer experience around delivery. If you think about it, and if you look at conversion rates in shops versus online platforms, if you're standing with a credit card in front of a cashier, conversion rate is near 100%. The only reason it isn't 100% is if your credit card doesn't work or something goes wrong or you get called away or my wife tells me off for buying too much stuff, right? That's reality. But when you add to cart, that's only part of a journey because the good has to reach you. How it reaches you, your experience about the condition it reaches you in. Do you believe you've received what you've bought? All of those are logistics challenges that have many different steps along the way. And none of those steps should be obvious to the consumer. The consumer should just receive a good, and to use the classic Zappos language, feel a sense of delight. So those are three key problems. Call to action to download the app, the catalog and the experience once the consumer is there, and third, the experience in the delivery that allows a consumer to have the confidence to purchase again.
Abdulwahab?
Well, one of our main big challenges that we faced during the past 2 to 3 years was hiring super expert calibers from the giants in the world. So we've tried a number of times to hire people from Amazon. We pay good salaries, good deal. We make a good deal with them, and they just don't want to live in this region. They feel that this region is so scary. They feel that this region is not stable. So it's been a very big challenge to convince those big players in Silicon Valley and
You mean
Asia.
talents, right?
Yeah, talents to be part of our team. We need our region has a very bad reputation out there. It's very hard for us to convince them to come and live here with their family. We have a long journey to accept, and this creates another challenge, is how we should in our region help ourselves to have better people in this area. I'm proud that my team have improved a lot. Engineer Fahad is here. He's one of the IT guys in Boutiqaat, and I'm proud of him. He started with us from scratch, and today he's super expert. But this will take time, and I can do it with Fahad, but I can't do it with everybody else. So this is the biggest challenge that we are facing. Other challenges are infrastructure, logistics. We still don't have a good infrastructure on the ground. A successful e-commerce must have a successful logistic infrastructure. For example, if I'm an e-commerce in the United States, I could easily hire a third party with a great customer service experience, same-day delivery, good tracking systems, and all these beautiful systems out there. In our region, we don't have it, and that's why only giants could be successful in our region, because they have too much money and they could build their own infrastructure. But creative talents in the region, they will suffer from the logistics issues. The third challenge is the payment. We still don't COD, the cash on delivery, is like 80% maybe of the whole business, and this is not healthy, huh? This is not healthy. People are still don't have the confidence to pay through their credit cards, and this is not our fault. I don't know who to blame, but there's lots of bad stories that happened in the past 10 years in our region that made the people very hard to pay credit card. We charge them extra for COD option, and they still prefer to pay this extra fees to other than giving you, even if you give them a discount, just pay through the credit card. They will no, we'll pay extra because we don't believe. Okay, I'm Talabat, I'm Boutiqaat, I am Noon, I'm big players now. I will not steal your money. They still don't believe in the system. This is a challenge that actually I don't know how to fix. We're trying our best, but it will take time.
But this would take time and would take extra cash. Speaking of cash and money, so Noon, you guys have a lot of money, obviously. So what do you do? What do you do if we talk about talent acquisition and we talk about really building infrastructure?
Yeah. Look, I think before I answer that, I'd like to go back to the point that Abdul was making about COD. So again, I mentioned I've just moved here from Hong Kong. The marketplace I worked for serviced Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, and Vietnam. And especially Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam have much more in common with the challenges Abdullah and I face than anything Amazon will tell you about. Because those are 3 countries where COD is nearly 100%. Not because people don't have credit cards. That's the naive assumption. It's the point you made, it's trust. They want the option of having the good in hands and saying, okay, it looks like what was in the photo, or not, right? That's hard. Who has figured out how to deal with that? It's not Amazon, it's Alibaba. Why does Alipay exist? Alipay exists to solve that exact problem. It was created as an escrow service. So the money could sit in escrow between the buyer and seller to allow the buyer to hold and the seller to have the confidence that if there was a problem, they would get their good back. And from there, it scaled out to an ecosystem. And I think what we need is that similar mechanism. We need something that doesn't necessarily even have to exist at a platform level. It actually needs to exist at an ecosystem level, where all of us are clearing money and goods through a common pipe, where we can jointly together deliver that trust. And I think going back to your question in terms about infrastructure, where do you spend the money? Again, what you read in the headlines is a distortion field, right? The resources are limited, but that's where we need to spend today, right? We need to say, hey, you've downloaded your app, but do you trust shopping through it? How are we investing in that customer journey so that practically you can believe in that? And for us, it's going to be a combination of both online and offline. Pickup points, right? So people can see goods. Talent acquisition is the tough one, but I think that also comes down to the storytelling, right? People watch too much CNN. People watch way too much Fox News, right? It's my part of the world to blame for that. I'm a Canadian, by the way, so we gave you Justin. We had nothing to do with that other guy. But again, I don't think the talent acquisition necessarily needs to be in the valley, because these are the people who have solved problems for an ecosystem that has nothing to do with the realities of business here. You can find good coders in a lot of places, but you're needing the people who have solved problems in the emerging markets. If anything, you should be recruiting in places like Indonesia and Vietnam, where they have strong coders who are looking for places to build challenges, and where they're not thinking everything is complete for me to work with. They're thinking, I'm not going to have an address database, my address is probably wrong, and my customer wants COD. Their starting point is the reality of this market, as opposed to saying, oh, I wish this was like the US. And I think when I look at the talent acquisition strategies, again, I think the reality is looking east now. From East Asia to West Asia is probably the way to proceed.
So, if somebody's starting an e-commerce platform, whether it's an app or a website, from your own perspective, with all challenges and available resources and infrastructure, what would be your number one advice for someone starting out in e-commerce?
Do you want to take that one first? Oh, you're the founder, man. I'm an employee.
Well, my number one advice is to be creative and innovative, because with little resources, it will be very hard for you to compete with Amazon or Souk.com in brackets Amazon. It's very hard to compete with Noon. It's very hard to compete with those big players with a very strong backbone. They are very big players. The only way is to go through the Boutiqaat way, is to be very creative, innovative. You go and slip into the market with an angle that those giants don't see. For example, we took the social media influencer thing. We didn't spend money on marketing. We don't spend money on digital marketing. Big players are spending millions and millions and burning money, millions and millions of dollars every month. We don't have that money. So we need to create a new way of generating revenue, is through marketing and through our social media influencers. Now this is one angle, but I'm sure that there is a number of angles that me myself didn't see. I've seen the social media influencer, this is one, but there's a number of angles in the market where you can see. Carriage, for example, is a great example. Carriage, we have a giant, which is Talabat.com, who's been acquired by Rocket Internet. Anyone would think for a second to compete with will be insane. They took a very small angle that Talabat didn't see because they are so big to see it, which is I deliver restaurants that don't deliver. Very easy. And they slipped into the market, and now they are competing with Talabat, and Delivery Hero at the end of the day paid lots of money to acquire them also. Other than that, they might lose Talabat. This is the only way. This is the only way. If you're successful, then you make a number of fundraisers, and then you will solve the infrastructure issue. You will solve the talent issue. It will come by time. No worries about those big challenges. Even the payment issue, it will be solved. But start a successful business first, and then all the VCs in the world would want to put money in this region. All the VCs in the world. Weekly, we have an email from a VC who is willing to cash in the company. So money is not an issue after you become successful. It is a big issue before you start the company, but if you just started a good successful application, money is not a challenge.
Well, Abdullah actually highlighted something important, which is the marketing aspect. All right, and he said that you guys spending millions of dollars in advertising and marketing, but the challenge, not spending millions. What do you do pre-spending the millions or spending in marketing and advertising as a large corporation? What advice would you give for small business owners or startups when it comes to how to spend their money, although they have very limited resources when it comes to marketing and advertising?
No, I think that's one of the fundamental questions, because marketing, so classic models, right? Facebook retargeting ads, TV ads, even worse. They're very impersonal. You as a business acquire customers because of an idea of utility. That's your call to action. What are you going to do for things? You retain customers because of experience, but you grow your customers through community. And especially in this part of the world, right? The majlis, the community. You know, that's so fundamental. How do you turn your customers into your promoters? Now, Guy Kawasaki used to call this evangelists. And the model that he built for Apple, your Apple Watch is the most fundamentally important bit of marketing that Apple can do. But Apple's a long way down in the journey. How do you start? Well, let's take an example from Abdullah. He was talking about introducing the menswear category, right? I'm a typical man. I have no idea how to dress. I have cool glasses because my wife and son said it was embarrassing. They went and bought it for me, right? Okay? If you want to penetrate the menswear category, sending a bunch of emails to guys is not going to work. But if you can reach their wives through the schools, through the mommy network, you know, mommy A goes to mommy B, my husband, I'm proud to be seen with him in public now. Boutiqaat helped transform his image. That's the power. And I think especially for a company that's starting out that small at the grassroots, use the grassroots to communicate your message. Turn your early customers into your promoters. Have them use their social media. Give them an incentive, right? Unboxing videos. People watch unboxing videos all day. I watch them. I'm a nerd, but you know, people watch them. How do you turn your customer into your promoter that way? Where they want to bring people on the journey of acquiring through you. That's the ultimate hustle, right? And especially when you're small and you can tap into communities like the Mommy Blogger Network or the moms at the school. That's really powerful, right? If you look at, let's take an example, migrant foreign workers. There's very large communities here in the Middle East, right? 80% of retail sales in the Philippines take place during the month of December. 80% in the entire country, offline and online. What does that mean? You have a huge community of Filipino workers here who, in November, will be looking for things to buy to send home in December. How do you reach them? Again, you reach them through community groups, right? And I think this is the thing. We realize the phone is the point of driving the execution of the transaction, but your connection with your customer happens long before that, and you keep them in the heart.
Speaking of community, Abdulwahab, you built your platform based on social commerce, which is by itself, you have a community of 350 plus people promoting your brand and marketing the brand, which is amazing. What do you do beside that?
My main challenge is not reaching the people, because with those influencers you can reach whoever you want in the region. The main challenge is how can you help those influencers to create good content, good products, good deals for their customers. They would talk every day. This is not an issue. But what to say to those audience, this is that we do every day. So we sign the influencer, we open the boutique, then the journey starts. This is, most of the people think that this is the end of the deal. No, this is the start of the deal, because the back end of the company is creating products, exclusivity, deals with suppliers, so that at night when the influencer takes a certain product and starts promoting it, it's a good product with a good pricing, with a good deal. So, and one of the main challenges that this is our strategy is to also build a good customer behavior, which I mean that all of the players in the region are mostly offer-based platform. They acquire customers because of a cheaper price, not because of a good product maybe or a good exclusive line. 70% discount, 60% discount, 50%. Everybody, and they're acquiring more customers. And to me, with all respect, not always the best customers that you want. So we took a different angle. We said, we will sell on retail price. And this is a big challenge. We want a healthy company at the end of the day with a healthy cash flow. I don't want to run every weekend after an investment bank to cash in the company. I must stand alone by myself. So we took the retail price strategy, which is not easy, in our region, with all the players are offer-based. And then with our social media influencers, we convinced our customers that, okay, you will not find the best price here, but you will not find this product anywhere else. If you want it, you will buy it. If you want a better deal, there are number of options.
So what you did is closing a gap and opening another gap that you can monetize.
What do you mean?
You close the gap of not giving discounts, and to sustain a very healthy business by opening another gap, this product is not available in the marketplace.
Yes, and if you take this line, more and more better quality brands will give you approvals. We have approvals of companies in of for example beauty companies that they didn't give to Amazon itself. L'Oreal Group, for example, the niche line, Amazon.com don't have the approval to sell niche brands. Boutiqaat have.
Because
So,
it's a larger player.
Yeah, but so if you create a healthy customer who's not waiting for the deal, who's waiting for what's the next trendy SKU coming, and we have issues with sold out. We have built the reputation of the sold out issue. We launch a certain product and it goes sold out within 6 hours, and by repeating this formula, people will not think much if you launch, because they need to buy it quickly before it goes sold out.
You build the scarcity around it.
Healthy cash flow, full retail price, healthy customer database, profitable company. How could you ever be profitable in this region? Boutiqaat is an exception.
Yeah.
Because we just went to another angles in the market that nobody is looking at. Easy.
Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your thoughts and insight about what you do. And right now, I'm going to open the door for everyone to ask questions, whether related to Boutiqaat or Noon. And I believe, guys, it's an opportunity for you if you have a question, a burning question to ask. And even if you think that your question is a silly question, ask the question. Do you know why? Because trust me, someone else is hesitant about asking similar question. So you would do them a favor by asking question. Yeah, we have one at the back there.
Hello, good afternoon, Will and Abdullah and Khalid.
Yeah,
Here.
okay.
I have one question regarding e-commerce. In the region, they are building B2C e-commerce. What about B2B? Is there any challenges for B2B e-commerce? The other question is regarding Alipay. Is there challenges to build a platform like Alipay in the region? Thank you.
A very interesting question. I think just to make sure I've understood it correctly, what is the outlook for B2B e-commerce in the region? And what would it take in the region to build a platform like Alipay to create a common solution for money transfer? I think B2B is a function of the industrial cycle, right? And it depends on where your sourcing is coming from. So two things, that's your X and your Y. The industrial cycle right now, the region is in a challenging period of time. So if companies are investing in their infrastructure or in their goods, you know, it's less than it would have been a few years ago. So is it the ideal time to launch a B2B platform? It depends whether you've hit a market niche, kind of like what Abdullah was saying. Is there something where you have a sourcing advantage so that the pricing that you're offering is either very different to what's available offline because of your supply chain, or is addressing a gap? You know, is there a particular part or parts or goods that can be sourced through you that you can't source offline? In terms of what it takes to build a regional pipeline, or interesting, that metaphor means so much more here than in other parts of the world. For the movement of money, that's consensus. You know, that's the view on, it's like how you build a securities exchange. There has to be a view around a collective good. Now, the reality is that pipelines, there are, you know, today, the opening panel, a lot of it was about fintech. There was a lot of talk about how do we create cash clearing apps. Any of these basic cash clearing apps can be used to support multiple e-commerce platforms. You want to really get exciting and hit the buzz cycle, you can say, hey, let's put it all on a blockchain. Ooh. But you still have to get people to use it, right? It's the consensus. And I think it's the ability to demonstrate to multiple stakeholders, particularly of their competitors, that they will have an overall larger pie by being able to create this common layer of infrastructure. And I'm not sure we're at that point in the competitive cycle yet where people are willing to listen to that message.
There's one in the back there. Yeah, there you go.
Hello.
Hello.
That's loud. This question actually to Abdulwahab and Khalid, you could also jump in as a founder. I'm curious, before you founded the company, did you have a certain target in mind in how big you want that company to be in order for it to be worth your effort? Say, if it's not going to be a $100 million company, it's not going to be a $500 million company, I'm not going to even bother. Or is that kind of valuation question not in your mind when you founded the company? Just thank you.
The only thing that I have in mind once I started the company is I want this formula to be successful, where you can link the influencer with the product itself and promoting it before the market as a pre-launch. This is the only thing that I was thinking of. I have no idea how big this company will be. And I even don't have a certain target. I was working every day. I want to perfect this formula, because I know if this works well, then I could put whatever. I will choose the evaluation. I will choose which market I want to disrupt. I will choose whatever I want in this region. So perfecting the formula is the only thing that I was really thinking of.
Thank you so much for participating with us in this panel discussion of e-commerce challenges and opportunities. Thank you so much, for being over here. Thank you so much, Abdulwahab. If you have any other questions, the guys will be around over here. You can ask them any questions. Thank you so much, Arabnet, for making this panel discussion possible. I appreciate it, and have a great day, everyone.